You get to choose the outcome of this video. You see, Bungie's brought a ton of stuff from D1 back into D2, and today we're going to put them up against each other in a head-to-head matchup. Think Will Smith from Gemini Man, except I'm aiming for the audience score, not the tomato meter. Round 1 is Hawkmoon, and round 2 is the Ace of Spades. All you have to do is comment D1 or D2 for each matchup, and then I will be using a special software to actually count every single comment on the video for a final score. If this is something you enjoy, we'll coin it the Castle Content Throwback or something like that, and I'll share these results in my next video comparing more items. Kicking off with the Destiny 1 version of Hawkmoon, it dropped right away at the 2014 launch. Or I guess not for everyone. It was actually a PlayStation exclusive, and our Xbox folks couldn't get their hands on it until the Taken King came out in September of 2015, a full year later. It was 140 RPM hand cannon, and the damage it dealt was actually variable. Back then, its base damage was around 57 to the body, but barrels changed the impact stat on a weapon, so if you went with, say, Accurized or Field Choke, it would actually add 5% more, and you'd see 60 damage per body shot instead of that 57, and then headshots dealt 50% more, so you would actually see 90s to the head. Now, if you were okay losing range and stability on the aggressive ballistics barrel, you'd actually get 10% more damage, meaning 63 to the body and 94 crit. Skipping the two main perks for a second, in column 4 you had 3 options. Hammer Forged, an enormous range boost, I'm talking 40 range, okay, literally double that of today's Iron Reach. Quick Draw, and remember that's old school, not today's nerfed version. And then finally Send It, which funny enough was actually also 40 range early on. I kid you not, they shipped 2 identical perks for the gun at release. They did end up noticing that after a couple of months and switched that third perk Send It over to Speed Reload, which is a pretty sweet option. Now, what I find even funnier when I think back is how the 2 main Hawk perks were also basically the same. Luck in the Chamber meant a random bullet in your mag of 13 would deal 33% extra damage at release. Depending on your barrel choice, that meant a bullet could do 126 to the head. If we flip over to holding aces, it reads 2 more random bullets in your magazine will deal considerable bonus damage as well. In this case, it was 30%, so a little bit less than that 33 from Luck in the Chamber, but it applied to 2 bullets instead of 1, so that's actually where the bread and butter was. And the real neat part was that all 3 of these randomized damage boosts could actually stack onto the same bullet for a full year before Xbox could even taste the beauty. If you were lucky enough, and I'm talking 1 in 2,197 odds lucky, those 3 damages would stack onto the same bullet, allowing you to deal 223 damage. Of course, all good things must come to an end, and so when Taken King came out and Xbox finally got a chance at this weapon, Bungie did 2 things. Luck in the Chamber was brought down from 33 to that same 30% boost as holding aces, and then they made it so that only 2 out of those 3 total damage boosts could actually stack at once. What this meant was no more one-shotting people, because the most you could deal was around 160 instead of 223. Still pretty nuts though, and let's be honest, the odds of having 2 stack versus all 3 are a lot higher. Over time, with nerfs happening to other weapons in the meta, sleeper picks tend to rise up. I think we can all agree on this one little bow out there right now. As a result, usage on Hawkmoon actually took off after these nerfs instead of going down because of other things like Thorn and Last Word getting hit even harder. With that in mind, Bungie ended up bringing those boosts down to 20% instead of 30 for the remainder of D1, meaning you could do a maximum of 108, I think it was, to the head. This of course never stopped one of my favorite players ever, AE Gabriel, an absolute master on the Titan who also loved to use it regardless of the situation. So how about the current Hawkmoon in D2? I'll be a little quicker here since there's no trip down memory lane, and I think it's safe to say all of D1s were stronger than D2. The simple fact a 140 RPM was dealing 90 crits on the regular is just insane. That's foreshadowing, by the way. Now, when Bungie brought Hawkmoon back to this game, it dropped as a static roll for maybe 6 weeks or so, but eventually it actually broke the standard and allowed for an exotic with random rolls. Diving into those, you'd basically try and get the barrel and grip combo that you wanted for optimal base stats like handling, stability, etc. And then there's the actual perk column. You have 9 choices, and honestly, all of them are really good. I truly believe they took some of the best ones out there for hand cannons so that at least no matter what you got for your drop, it would be somewhat usable. Regarding the mechanic, I'm actually a fan that Bungie didn't bring it back identical. I really like what they've done with Paracausal Shot, and that's when you land headshots without reloading to slowly build up a damage stack, which you can see on screen right now courtesy of my buddy Patty Cakes. And what this means is that you aren't guaranteed that super unicorn scenario where you can just randomly one-shot someone, but if you're good with your aim and you're disciplined, then it's within your control to do so. Not only that, but the bullets along the way slowly gain damage, right? So that actually helps your time to kill requirement because you don't need 3 crits on a 140 depending on their resilience. Lastly, the Catalyst ups the magazine, which gives more opportunity to build that stack in order to reach Paracausal Shot, and it cumulatively adds handling, reload, and range along the way. Take a look at this play from Frostbolt just to demonstrate his discipline and talent here.
Nice. Wait, life, I can help you. Nice.
P.S. Frost, if you watch this, yeah man, you slaughtered me in Trials when I was trying to learn Warlock for the first time, and then you put me up in 4K. I swear to God, when Gold Eagle and I matched you, I was like, why can't I be on my Titan right now? But someday, I'm gonna run a card with you, damn it. And if someone gets him to see this, I'm gonna highlight you in one of my next videos. But anyways, with all the nitty gritty out of the way, I think the aesthetics do have a part to play, don't you? So when we look at the base appearance, they did a great job bringing it back to D2. It's a straight tie here in my opinion. So
Alright, I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. Destiny 2 Hawkmoon is better. Alright, back to the video.
So I guess we're gonna have to look at some of the ornaments. In one corner, we had the, what was it? The Carrion, or I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it was a thing of beauty. Like, just look at this thing. I wanna give it the win right here. And if that wasn't enough, look at the Moonglow ornament. Equally incredible in an entirely separate way. For D2, we have the Feeling Lucky ornament, definitely clean. The Ostro Raptor, if I'm saying that right, fairly slick, and guilty of being pay to win because the iron sights don't actually block anywhere near as much on your screen. Then finally on Ashen Wings. This might be the coolest looking on paper, but I actually can't stand it while I'm aiming down sights in the game. Now how about the sound though? Let's play a clip. I think I'm leaning towards D1 for the base, but boy does Paracausal sound sexy in D2. Alright, so what do you all think? We got Luck in the Chamber and Holding Aces from D1 versus the Paracausal system in D2. We have the flexibility in choosing between range reload and old school quick draw back in D1 versus a randomized perk, albeit good options in D2. And then the ultimate look, sound, and feel of the hand cannon itself. Hit me with it in the comments. Remember, that's D1 Hawkmoon or D2 Hawkmoon. You can write more than that, but at a minimum, that's what my software is going to look for. Okay, let's move on to the Ace of Spades, but first I want to mention, if you're interested in learning everything there is about Witch Queen's PvP side, consider hitting the subscribe button. Back when Beyond Light launched, I was a really tiny channel, but I did extremely in-depth reviews on every single aspect, all of the fragments, which ones you should use or avoid, the synergy between certain ones, and all of that. Back to our topic though, the Ace had a different type of exclusivity. All the platforms had a crack at getting it, but the hand cannon was actually for hunters only. Fortunately for all of you, that's what, like 92% of the community? Once you reached rank 3 at the Gunsmith, you got a quest line with multiple steps to achieve it. You needed to get a bunch of kills first, then you had to dismantle other hand cannons as currency, and then bam, there it was. Now if you notice, the perks on this look a little different to the Hawkmoon, and that's because it was released in year 2, September of 2015. You see, Bungie actually sunset a ton of weapons after year 1. They did carry some forward, but they actually converted it to this year 2 system. In fact, if you were to Google Hawkmoon Destiny 1, you would see a year 1 version and a year 2 version. But anyways, Ace's barrels didn't actually change the damage profile the way Hawkmoon's did. It was just a straight shot 140 RPM dealing 86 to the head and 57 to the body. It didn't matter if you grabbed True Sight, Quick Draw, Steady Hand, whatever. The third column gave you a choice between High Cal, which we all know, Perfect Balance, a great option for stability and recoil, and then Reinforced Barrel to boost the range a lot more. Column 2 was Firefly, another perk we're familiar with, but there was actually one difference that I'm going to point out later in the video. And then Maverick in the final column, which returns 1 round from your reserve into the mag. Last but not least was the intrinsic trait, of course, and that was Third Eye, meaning your radar would stay up while you were aiming down sights. Now, outside of a 3-year history of blanket changes to all hand cannons, I'm talking general changes to perks that applied to multiple guns or how much stats were given by sights, the entire era of ghost bullets and whatnot, the The ace was actually left alone in comparison to its counterparts Hawk, Moon, Thorn, and Last Word. Like, this thing was pretty much untouched, which if I think about it, I don't really know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyways, let's move on to D2's Ace of Spades. Bungie brought that back with the Forsaken DLC in September of 2018. It's been a contender in the meta for like, I don't know, ever. It's always been a good option. First, we'll point out that it also came with that intrinsic third eye perk, so you have your radar up while ADS. Thank you, Bungie. The static roll comes with Corkscrew Barrel, which is nothing to laugh at given the fact that it gives a bit to all three of range, stability, and handling. And then it has High Cal, which let me tell you, there is something about the Ace of Spades High Cal. This thing hits like a truck. I don't understand it. Ask any sniper you know, it is one of the hardest hand cannons to play against regarding flinch. Thirdly is our beloved Firefly, tying back to D1, but in this case, it actually increases your reload speed a lot on precision kills. For those wondering why sometimes it does that flip way faster than not, that's the reason. And finally, a grip at the end, which helps with base stats and more of the feel. The 86 range on Ace was deemed the king for 140s for a long time. I suppose that's outside of rangefinder and then that hidden ricochet rounds glitch, but most important about the Ace was not just its range, but how amazing Memento Mori is. It was stronger at release than it is now. I'm not sure who remembers the old one-eyed mask, Ace of 2 tapping BS. Reloading after your kill loads the mag with bonus damage bullets. The stack shows up on the left-hand side, serving you 6 bonus damage ammunition. Just like today, those stacks go away one by one as you shoot them, but notice it dealt 93 to the head in these clips, not the current 90. That's more than what the 110 RPM hand cannons were doing back then, by the way. After like 2 months of it being out, they reduced it to 5 stacks, which, let's be honest, didn't really do anything. And so in May of the next year, about 6 months later, they reduced that damage to what we see today, 90 to the head, 60 to the body. I guess they felt the need to compensate for that, so they brought it back up to 6 stacks. But the true nerf, which was completely warranted, is the fact that it now goes away when you swap your weapon. This way it forces you to think twice about pulling out that shotgun, fusion, sniper, whatever, because you're gonna lose it when you do. What people might not remember is the fact that the bonus portion of the damage coming from Mori was actually resilient to range drop-off, and they didn't even fix that until Shadowkeep. Such a good hand cannon, but enough about numbers. Which one looks better? At base, again, great job by Bungie with the design similarity. I think I gotta give the simplicity to D1 maybe, but what about the ornaments? Oh wait, there weren't any in D1. Wow. D2 is the polar opposite. There's too many to friggin' count. I think there's 5. Won't name them, but Big Blind and Last Hand. Onto the sound. This gentleman actually has a side-by-side for us. How perfect. Folks, I think I might go with D1 on that one, but what does that give us for the total scoreboard? Third eye is the same on the left and the right. Hunter only in D1 versus all characters in D2. Selection for your sight and perks back in D1 versus a static roll in D2. Regular Firefly versus the faster reload Firefly. Maverick on the D1 version versus Memento Mori. And then of course the look, the sound, and the feel. Might be safe to say I got a gut feeling which one's going to get more comments, but a reminder, you need to write D1 Hawkmoon or D2 Hawkmoon, and then D1 Ace of Spades versus D2 Ace of Spades. Next video in my series, I'm going to reveal these scores on screen, and heck, maybe we'll do Thorn in the Last Word. So if you want to learn more about those now in advance, check out these storyline videos I've made a while back. Cheers.